Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of night number 85 of Big Brother Season 26, our final Saturday. We're this close. Tomorrow night, we have the finale. We'll find out who's walking away with $750,000. Isn't that incredible? Such a lot of money. Yeah, it all wraps up tomorrow night. So I've enjoyed hanging with y'all guys, getting a chance to do these recaps for yet another season. So thank you for all the support. I do appreciate it. All right, let's just go. We'll talk about the feeds, but let's just cut to the chase and talk about part two of the final HOH competition, because that's what really mattered yesterday, right? Yeah, absolutely. So let's just go ahead and cut to the chase. We'll talk about that. We do have a winner of part two, and that winner is Mackenzie. Yes, Mackenzie wins part two. She was feeling so upset yesterday after I don't know if it's because she got beat by Chelsea. More likely, it's just that because she got beat by Cam. But Mackenzie not feeling great at all after yesterday's part one competition. She's won part two. All is right in the world of Mackenzie at this point in time. So congratulations to her for that. So what does that mean? It means that Mackenzie and Chelsea will be facing off against each other on Sunday night. Probably some kind of a question and standing in booths, some kind of a question and answer type situation, probably answering questions about former house guests or days and events, things like that. Something along those lines. Whoever wins that not only guarantees their seat in front of the jury, a final two position, but they also get to decide which of the other two house guests they want to take with them to face off in the jury. So it all comes down to that final competition tomorrow night. Now, at this point, I think the only way that Chelsea doesn't win this thing is if Mackenzie was to win that final competition, and if she then chose to take Cam with her instead of Chelsea. If Mackenzie does that, I think Mackenzie wins this thing running away. I'm possibly unanimous, maybe not, but pretty close. Mackenzie wins this thing. The problem is, I don't think Mackenzie's going to do it. I think Mackenzie will take Chelsea instead. But I truly think if Chelsea is pitching before the jury, she'll beat Cam unanimously, probably Mackenzie unanimously, perhaps not, but Chelsea wins no matter what. Mackenzie's only path to victory is to take Cam. Cam's not winning against either one of these two women. So really, Cam should be pushing to Mackenzie right now. That very deal that you're not going to beat Chelsea, but you take me and you're going to beat me going away. So why wouldn't you do that? Win your money. Oh, and by the way, I'll just get my 75,000 for second place. That's what Cam should be pitching. I don't think he's going to do it though, because if he was to do that and word got back to Chelsea that Cam was trying to throw Chelsea under the bus, she may decide not to take him to final two. And I do think at this point in time, Chelsea probably will take Cam over Mackenzie to the final two chair. So that's my prediction. Chelsea is probably winning this unless Mackenzie shocks all of us. Now, there's a part of me that is kind of hoping that Chelsea wins this final competition, if for no other reason, because then she can cut Mackenzie, take Cam. As horrible as Mackenzie may feel, at least she's going to say, well, I just got played. I trusted her when maybe I shouldn't have. Whereas if Mackenzie wins it, takes Chelsea to the final two and loses, then she's going to have, I would think, some regrets. She's going to have a whole lot of reflections on, yeah, the money was here in my hand. I gave it up with one poor decision. I think the world will go a little bit easier on Mackenzie if Chelsea wins and doesn't take her, as opposed to Mackenzie just making a Cody Calafuri type decision. Remember season 16, Cody took Derek and it cost him the money. I could see Mackenzie doing exactly the same thing. We'll find out though. But again, I think this is Chelsea's to lose at this point in time. All right, so let's talk about that part two competition. We don't know a lot about it. At one point, Mackenzie came in and she was kind of silly talking, like she's doing an interview with Cam, saying, "Oh, so you lost another one, Cam." And during that, we did hear a little bit. Sounds like the puzzle, the competition was some type of a stacking puzzle that you had to stack pieces successively on top of one another. And apparently Cam got one of the bottom pieces wrong, got the wrong one on there. So he was basically doomed from the start. Cam just is not the comp beast of the season. If there was you've got matter and antimatter, you've got comp beast and anti-comp beast. And Cam, you are it, my friend, for this season. So yeah, he just didn't apparently come close to winning this thing. Mackenzie won it, and Cam doesn't seem upset. No one seems upset. Now, Cam's situation, I think Cam is cognizant enough that he's not winning against either two of these ladies. So is he doing that? At one point, Chelsea and Mackenzie were talking, and I think as Mackenzie said something about, do you think Cam threw this on purpose, thinking that either one of us is going to take Cam to the final two? Yeah, I just don't see you throwing this level of competition. But yeah, no one seemed too upset with the outcome yesterday at all. All right, so the feeds themselves, we'll talk about that. But again, big one is that Mackenzie won, but the house guests got woken up early, like 7:30 in the morning or so, to get ready for this competition. The competition took place early in the morning. It was done by noon. They had it all wrapped up. So then we just had an afternoon of everyone hanging around and not doing a whole lot. We get some talk about flirting amongst these house guests. Cam is saying that he didn't want a showmance in case his future wife was watching. Chelsea says the same thing, something about she wanted to be a daisy for in case her husband's watching, and also yeah, and both of them kind of explaining why that just didn't happen. One point, Cam asked Chelsea, says, "Hey, did you trash me during this season?" And she said, "No, I didn't trash anyone this season." Well, we may have a few camera talks with Chelsea where I guess it depends on how you define trash talking, right? Chelsea certainly over the season had a little bit to talk about Cam and maybe washing cracks in clothes and shoes and socks and a few things here or there, but we're at the end of the season, whatever. But he did ask her. He said, "No, I didn't trash you. No, not at all." All right, we have a little bit. Mackenzie and Chelsea are talking to each other. Chelsea again talking about this being a historic season because they are two women going to the final two. No, it's happened before. I thought this would be the sixth time. I saw someone who said it's a fifth, so I have to go back and check that. But it's certainly not the first. But they continue to push the narrative that we're going to be the first season with two women in the final two. Mackenzie's thinking it'll also be historic because she is going to be the youngest final two contestant ever. No, we've got 3, 4, 5. They were a little bit younger than now. Mackenzie is young, but not the youngest. But they're still pushing those narratives to each other a little bit. All right, we do have, while some people are basking in the glory of having won their part two competition and taking a few naps here and there, I'm talking to you, Mackenzie. Other people still playing the game. There's no letting up if you're Chelsea. Chelsea is practicing her final two speech with the assumption that hopefully she makes it there. The big takeaway as I listened to it is saying that she chose not to win all the comps. She knows that's not the best strategy going forward. Tucker could attest to that. I think he'd do it again if he had the chance. But Chelsea saying she realized winning all the comps was certainly not in her best interest, that she certainly threw some comps here and there to keep herself a little bit more under the radar, that she was still able to control things, whether she was HOH or not. She's going to be so well prepared for this speech. So, yeah, I think she's going to do fine. We did have the recap episode on TV last night. We got to see the first part of the HOH competition. So that was cool. And I was on it. Completely unexpected. Big Brother does not reach out to us and tell us when things like this are going to happen. But yeah, I got to be on there as part of Brooklyn's little conspiracy theory that men have not landed on the moon. I got to go line up Brooklyn. I'm going to have to travel over and visit Brooklyn. Yes, I know people flight directors. We landed on the moon, Brooklyn, and yeah, no big conspiracy theory, but Kat Dunn and Brooklyn. Maybe it's a Dallas thing. Both felt like that was the case. So yeah, they showed me. That's always kind of cool to know that you're being remembered sometimes. But we had the recap episode on TV, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the recap episodes usually. I thought they did okay. They showed clips that we didn't necessarily see as part of the main episodes earlier and all that. So it was okay. They did a pretty good job with it. All right, let's talk more about the feeds. We've got Chelsea and Cam talking to one another. Chelsea is saying, "Hey, if the three of us still left in the house, who do you think the jury would vote for between the three of us?" She's still playing the game. She's not ever going to let up. Who do you think the juries would vote for? Cam saying, "You're pretty well positioned, Chelsea. I think you're good. I think you beat either myself or Mackenzie, either one." He's saying, especially with T-Core and Rabina and Chemo in the jury, that works well to your advantage. You're looking good, Chelsea. I think you're going to win this thing. He says, "I'd vote for you." Well, don't say that. Makes it too easy for her just to send you to the jury and knowing that you'll cast a vote for. But yeah, he's saying you're pretty good. He said, "I know you and Mackenzie, either one of y'all are going to beat me. There's no, we're not going to play like that's not the case. But yeah, I think you beat either one of us, Chelsea, at the end of it." Chelsea is saying again that she's going to do her best to win and take Cam to the final two with her. Now, at this point, all the Cam has no power. There is no chance going forward that he somehow wins another comp and decides who goes to the final two. Cam's done from a competition standpoint. So if you're Chelsea, if you aren't really planning to take Cam to the final two, why would you say that and potentially alienate him in terms of a jury vote by making a promise that you are not going to follow through? That makes me think that Chelsea probably really is going to take Cam over Mackenzie, because otherwise I think she would have said, I want to take you. I got to weigh this out, but we're tight and all that. And so, I'm still leaning that way. You could hem haw around and use verbiage less definite than she used, which again makes me think that probably if Chelsea wins this final competition, she will be taking Cam forward instead of Mackenzie. All right, Chelsea is asking Cam what his speech would be if he was there. She wants to make sure that he doesn't have some incredible speech. More than anything, I don't think she thinks that he has some incredible resume or speech or anything else that she has to worry about. But I do think she wants to know what he's going to talk about so she can counter it a little bit as part of her speech. So she's saying, "Hey, Cam, what would your speech be if you make it to final two? If I'm able to take you there, what's your speech going to be?" And he says, "I'm just going to tell everyone that I know how their votes are going to go. Let's not pretend. I know how they're going to vote between you and me, and that I just am hoping that someone will throw a vote my way." He says, "I'm going to be funny about it. I'm not going to take it serious. I just want to have fun while we're up there. I'll ask for maybe someone to throw me a vote." Chelsea says, "Angela could very well throw you a vote." But yeah, Cam's just throwing his hands up. Now, is that true? Does he truly understand that he's not going to win this thing? And he's just going to have fun with it. Knowing Cam, that easily could be the case. But it also could be the case that he has a more serious speech lined up, that he's smart enough he's not telling Chelsea what that's going to be. Because at this point, he's like, "Yeah, why even bother, Chelsea? You got it. Well, you can take me, and you got zero issues beating me at all. So I'll just have fun with it." So that's certainly what he's implying to her. All right, Chelsea is saying, yes, Curry says, they're going to ask these jury questions. I say, she explains to him how the whole thing works, that you've got 90 seconds to pitch your little campaign speech, and then the jury asks you questions, all of that. And so she gives him a few sample questions, and he says, "All right, so Chelsea, what would your answer be to what your biggest move was during this season? Well, what would your answer be?" And she says, well, she looks around, she's all worried about where Mackenzie is, and I think Mackenzie was in diary room at this point. She said, I'm still feeling paranoid. But she says, "I think I would say that my biggest move during the season was controlling Mackenzie's HOH and getting her to take out Leah that week out in Janky World and all that." And so she's saying that I think that's what I would push as my biggest move. So again, and she says it depends on who I'm up there against, but certainly I think, especially if she did have Mackenzie up alongside her, that's a perfect thing. Hey, Mackenzie was HOH, but I controlled her HOH. So even when Mackenzie thought she had power, she didn't really have power. So she's telling Cam that's what she's planning to do. All right, there's some talk about America's favorite player. Voting is still open. So guys, you got just a little bit longer to vote. They're talking about America's favorite player. Cam is thinking that Tucker or Chelsea or Mackenzie. So one of the two ladies that are left, or Tucker, probably are the leading three candidates. Chelsea's thinking that Angela could certainly be in the running as well. I keep checking social media and polls and all that. And it certainly seems like Tucker or Angela probably certainly are going to be in the top three. One or the other probably takes that thing, I would expect. So they're talking about that a little bit. They're talking about Tucker and Rabina. How are they going to do living on different coasts? Are they actually going to be together after this thing gets over? Cam is thinking Tucker's going to be a little bit more into it than Rabina will be. She may he just doesn't know. He says he doesn't think Rabina is going to vibe quite as much as Tucker will with her. Conversation turns over from that to Matt and Mackenzie, and Cam mentions, he says, he said, I think that Mackenzie, more than really wanting Matt, she just wants Matt to be crazy for her, but she kind of wants to be single. She just wants him to be all over her, and then she can kind of do her own thing. So he's not thinking that Mackenzie's quite as much into it as Matt is. He says now there's no way Matt's going to show up and take a knee and propose or anything like that. Who would do that after a season of Big Brother? Well, at least one person's done it. Swaggy C, but yeah. He's saying, "Nah, I don't think that's gonna happen." But certainly thinking that Matt may be a little more interested in the than Mackenzie does. She just wants the attention from Matt. All right, Cam is saying as well that talking about Chelsea. He said, "Man," he said, "you and Mackenzie have been talking for the last several weeks about y'all's weddings, on and on and on." He says, "Y'all gotta go find y'all's men first." And Chelsea says, "Well, yeah, I know." She says, "But yeah, what else are we gonna talk about?" We can't talk about music. There's a little bit of an age difference. She says, "Yeah, weddings are the one thing that we've been able to talk a little bit." But yeah, he's saying, "Yeah, go find your man, then talk about your weddings a little bit." They talk about Leah a little bit. Chelsea thinks that they'll be friends outside the house. She's thinking that Leah probably wanted Tucker as her kind of guy in the house a little bit, and that didn't happen. And Cam saying, "Yeah, y'all, you kept thinking her and I were showmance and all." And she said, "Well, that, yeah, in the past." He said, "Well, people keep bringing it up." But yeah, he said, just wasn't into that. He said, "We flirted one time, but that was it." So they talk about that. They talk about the worst talkers in the house. Cam says it is Leah. He says she was the worst talker in the house in terms of just talking on and on. Chelsea's saying that Matt was just as bad, that he talked about himself a lot. So they got some different opinions on that. Chelsea talking about Leah just a little bit more, talking about Leah and Quinn. We know that inside the jury house, giving each other googly eyes a little bit. Chelsea's thinking they probably have kissed in the jury house. We don't know yet. We'll see how that potential relationship goes. I'm sure during this finale tomorrow night there will be some discussions on that as well. So we'll find out. And then finally, just to kind of wrap this thing up, feeds are all on Mackenzie. 10:30. I know, went on forever. Mackenzie laying in the unicorn room trying to sleep. Lights are still on. At one point, she's saying, "Yeah, I'm just trying to sleep in here, big brother." And lights would not turn off. Maybe that's punishment for them staying up so long for so many days on end. Eventually, I think she fell asleep and the lights were still on. Every time I check the feeds, all four cameras still on her. I think one or the other Cameron or Chelsea were in the diary room. So other one obviously maybe not doing a lot of talking either. I eventually hung it up. There was nothing else going on at that point in time. They're getting ready to call it a night. I think I checked back later, a few hours later, and they're all in bed. So yeah, that's it, guys. We're there. We've got the final competition on Sunday night, but until that happens, there's really not anything else going on. There's not going to be any conversations between these three about who to take, not to take. They figured all that out, or at least they think they figured it out. So it's going to be a somewhat chill 24 hours. We'll see when the feeds turn off. Now that they've had the two competitions, I expect the feeds will last till sometime probably tomorrow morning, maybe tonight, but I expect we'll get them throughout the evening. And they'll do a little reminiscing about everything that's happened in the house. Go around, say goodbye to all the rooms or something. And then we'll lose the feed sometime tomorrow morning. But guys, that's it. So in summary, Chelsea and Mackenzie competing head to head tomorrow night to see which one controls the fate of the other two in the house. And then we get the jury pitches and questions, and we'll see how, if showmances develop and who's friendly with who, and then we'll go to off season, postseason, and and truly find out who is friendly with who and who thinks what about who. And sometimes that's more exciting as well. Guys, have a great Saturday. Enjoy your day. I'm off to say goodbye to my mom. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning to give y'all a recap on whatever crazy stuff happened in the house. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.